Hey, welcome or welcome back. They say you can't judge a book by its cover, but what about the game by its pixels? Today, we're diving headfirst into the DOS's-era hideous masterpieces. Games so ugly they could curdle milk, yet so fun they'll keep you playing up until sunrise. Grab a snack and a drink, sit comfortably, and let's go! If you ever wondered what happens when a CAD program and a dungeon crawler have a baby, Moraff's World is your answer. The 3D corridors are, well, let's call them enthusiastically brick textured, but despite the presentation, the gameplay is a sprawling RPG with numerous dungeons, over 40 types of monsters, and more spells than you could count. There is no real plot, just you, your sword, and the endless urge to let everything that isn't nailed down and kill everything that's moving. It's the kind of a game where you start just exploring and suddenly realize you've been mapping corridors for 3 hours straight. It's a gem in the rough, folks, and you should give it a chance. Balance of Power is Chris S. Crawford's Cold War strategy simulation that feels like a tense geopolitical chess match. You play as either the US President or Soviet General Secretary, juggling diplomacy, covert ops, and the occasional military intervention to sway 62 research nations to your ideology. The catch? Push too far and you'll trigger nuclear war, ending the game instantly and the world along with it. Don't push hard enough and you lose by failing to surpass your opponent's prestige. Balance of Power proves that in the 80s, fun could mean sweating over whether to risk a coup in Tunisia. Also, I've never, not even once, won a game in Balance of Power. Before changing the world with Duke Nukem 3D, Ken Silverman cut his teeth on his first quirky first-person shooter. The textures are loud, the enemies are bizarre, and the weapons are unique. The plot is gloriously simple. Rescue a kidnapped dog Sparky from a labyrinth full of robots, spiders, and other nasties. It's bright, it's weird, and it's got vending machines you can actually use. Which is great as I'm a huge fan of vending machines, and especially after my visit to Japan, the country that's as quirky as Ken's Labyrinth is. Anyway, think of the game as a Saturday morning cartoon you can shoot your way through. While I first played Warlords on the Amiga, and a few years after on PC, it was a love at first. Well, definitely not sight. First round seems about right though. Anyway, graphically, it's a sea of chunky non-animated icons and static maps, but Warlords is also a pure turn-based strategy gold. 8 fantasy factions battle for control of Illyria, recruiting armies, conquering cities and sending heroes to explore ruins. The AI is surprisingly devious, and the multiplayer hot seat mode can turn friends into sworn enemies. It's the kind of a game where just one more turn turns into oops, it's 3 AM and I've not eaten since Tuesday. While I've might have mentioned Pyro II in my other recent video, it kinda fits to the theme of this one too, so, well, I'm reheating that burger once more. Okay, that makes no sense in English. I believe the term would be it's an old hat. And it is, an old hat that is. Anyway, ASCII graphics, check. Premise involving strategic arson, also check. Multiple locations all around the world to destroy, you guessed that right, check again. In Pyro II, you play a pyromaniac burning buildings to the ground while avoiding hazards. It's darkly comedic, mechanically clever, and proof that you don't need fancy visuals to have a blast. In its case, quite literally too. Even if Ultima 5 Warrior of Destiny's pixel art is serviceable at best and fugly at worst, the storytelling is legendary. Lord British has vanished, Tyrant Blackthorn rules Britannia with an iron fist, and the Shadow Lords spread fear. You, D1, the only D-Savior, the Avatar, must navigate moral choices, a living day-night world, and a vast underworld to restore virtue. It's a reminder that even in 16 colors, with serviceable amounts of animation, a good story can feel epic and elevate any game to a rank of a cult classic. Imagine if marbles, pachinko and a Rube Goldberg machine had a wacky threesome that somehow resulted in a DOS baby. If you don't know what pachinko is, good, cause it's nothing good really. You drop balls into a maze of ramps, walls and black holes, racing the computer to the bottom for maximum points. The physics and gameplay loop are both simple to grasp but surprisingly addictive, and the just one more try factor is dangerously high. It's ugly, it's clunky, and it's exactly the kind of a game that eats afternoons. Yes, plural, because despite what it may look like, it's hella fun. Now, to be clear, Dungeon Master is not fugly per se, but by the time its port reached the DOS horizons, most of its competitors looked better, sounded more melodic and played smoother, and were more modern. It was way too little and way too late. While its graphic may be blocky, the atmosphere is thick enough to cut with a sword. You guide a party in real time through a deadly dungeon to recover the fire stuff and defeat the Lord Chaos. Dungeon Master was innovative for its original release time, with mouse-driven combat and puzzles that made you feel like a genius. But in 1992, while still being a decently immersive game, it didn't feel up to date anymore. Not gonna lie, what I most remember Oxyd by is its terrible, awful and completely unreadable menu. I mean, just look at it. Anyway, Oxyd is about a black marble, a bunch of mysterious Oxyd stones and a physics-based puzzles. Mostly puzzles. The visuals are a bit bare bones, but the level design is devilishly smart. Match the stones, avoid hazards and try not to fling your marble into oblivion. It's a minimalism done right, hella playable and done hard. Proudly named Empire Wargame of the Century, has very strong proto-civilization vibes. You start with one city, build armies and then conquer the world, or fall a victim to someone else's similar ambitions. It's one of the first strategies to feature perhaps utilitarian but still functional fog of war, so the map is mostly black until you explore it and the graphics are beyond basic. But the strategic depth, well, for the time it released in, they're off the charts. It's the kind of a game that makes you forget what year it is and only focus on which turn it is in-game. Imagine a game that's full of contrasts. On one hand, the graphics, while serviceable, make all the characters look as if they were drawn in MS Paint. And on another, it's a surgical simulation that is heavy on realism to the point of nearly being a good tool for fresh doctors to test their knowledge on. That's life and death. So you'll need to diagnose abdominal ailments, perform appendectomies and other equally as jarring procedures, adhering to the strict rules of the OP room, and most importantly, try not to kill anyone. It's equal parts educational and nerve-wracking. Minimalist 3D tracks, neon colors and a spaceship that handles like a caffeinated frog. Jump, dodge and race along floating roads in space. That, ladies and gentlemen, is mother effing Skyroads. It's hypnotic, fast and way more addictive than it has any right to be, given how simple it looks. And don't get me wrong here, it's not an awful looking game, it's just very basic. But it more than makes up for it with gameplay. One wrong move, missed key press and your space dust. But winning, oh my, does it feel satisfying. It's one of those games you'll hit restart before you even blink and won't mind going at the same stage again and again. If you ever dreamed of running a multinational empire and don't mind staring at screens that look like an accountant's fever dream, Capitalism is your jam. Developed by Enlight Software, it's a deep business simulation where you control everything, from retail stores to manufacturing plants, dabbling in marketing, R&D and hostile takeovers. The interface is pure beige minimalism with some color icons breaking the uniformity, but the economic modeling is so robust it's actually been used in business schools. It's the rare game where a price war can be more thrilling than a boss fight. Global Conquest drops you onto a world map with one goal: protect your command center while wiping out everyone else's. You'll explore the map, build armies and cities, deploy spies and manage resources, all the while dealing with random events like plagues and revolts. The visuals are functional at best, so chunky icons and flat colors, but the multiplayer and AI skirmishes are endlessly replayable. It's like Risk on steroids, minus the pretty board, and if Risk was fun. And yes, you heard that right, I don't like Risk at all. Sue me. Or don't. Please don't. I can't afford a lawyer. A transforming robot that can morph into a jet should be the coolest thing ever. And in Thexder, it kind of is. Even if the graphics are basic. You blast through maze-like levels filled with enemies using an auto-aiming laser that's both blessing and a curse. The challenge ramps up fast, demanding quick reflexes and memorization. It's a perfect example of 80s tough but fair design. Mostly. Part trading simulation, part colony builder, Merchant Colony puts you in charge of expanding your empire across the globe. You'll found colonies, build ships and trade goods like spices and textiles, all the while navigating a very beige menu-driven interface. The pace is slow, but the satisfaction of turning a tiny outpost into a bustling hub is real. It's a game for patient strategists who don't mind their victories coming in spreadsheets. Originally released for the Atari Lynx, Chips Challenge made its way to DOS with all its tile-based puzzle glory intact. You get chipped through 148 levels, collecting computer chips to join the Bitbusters Club, dodging hazards like fire, water and monsters. The graphics are simple, but the puzzle design is devilishly clever. It's the kind of a game that makes you mutter just one more level until the sun comes up. Crisis in Kremlin is a political simulation that casts you as a leader of the USSR in its final years, juggling reform, nationalism and economic collapse. The interface is pure utilitarian menus, but the decisions are weighty. Do you embrace Glasnost, crack down on dissent, or try to hold the Union together? Every choice ripples through the game, leading to wildly different endings. It's like a history class where you get to rewrite the textbook. Prophecy: The Fall of Trinadon is an action RPG with a pulp fantasy plot. Your village is destroyed, you're the lone survivor, and you must overthrow the tyrant Kremlin. Combat plays out in side-scrolling arcade style, while towns and overworld exploration offer light RPG elements. The visuals are basic, but the mix of genres keeps things fresh. It's a hidden gem for those who like their hero's journey with a dash of button mashing. Polygonal players with no textures, stiff animations, and yet, for the sports tennis plays like a dream. You can compete in exhibitions, tournaments or a career mode with surprisingly responsive controls for the era. The unique presentation was novel at the time, making you feel right on the court. It's proof that smooth mechanics can ace even the roughest visuals. Developed by SSI, Wizard's Crown is a tactical RPG that sends your party to recover a magical crown from Wizard Taramon, sealed away for 500 years. The top-down graphics are primitive, but the combat system is incredibly deep. Weapon reach, shield angles and bleeding effects all matter. You can multi-class characters, explore dungeons, and customize gear in ways that were ahead of their time. It's a crunchy old-school RPG goodness for those who love systems over spectacle. Set on the planet Irata, which spells Atari backwards, this multiplayer economic simulation has you using mules, so multiple use labor elements to harvest resources. You'll balance cooperation and competition with other players or AI for that matter, deciding whether to trade fairly or corner the market. The graphics are simple, but the social dynamics are timeless. It's one of the earliest examples of easy to learn, hard to master in PC gaming. Ancients 1, Deathwatch, is a first-person dungeon crawler with chunky, repetitive wall textures but plenty of monsters to fight. You create a party, explore beneath the city of Lochleven and battle in turn-based combat. The story is minimal, but the loot and leveling keep you hooked. It's like Wizardry's scrappy younger cousin. You can forget about twitch reflexes for this one, because MicroLeague Baseball is a management simulation. You pick teams, set lineups and call plays, then watch the action unfold in minimalist animations. The real draw here is the stat-driven gameplay, letting you pit historical teams against each other. It's a catnip for baseball nerds who care more about on-base percentage than flashy graphics. Chamber of the Sci-Mutant Priestess is a surreal point-and-click adventure where you play Raven, trying to rescue your friend from the alien Protozorgs. The art is bizarre, the puzzles are stranger, and the whole thing feels like a French sci-fi comic come to life. It's short, weird, and unforgettable. If you like your adventures with a side of "what did I just play?", this one's for you. And there you have it, proof that graphics aren't everything. These DOS relics may look like they were drawn during a power outage, but their gameplay still shines decades later. If you enjoyed this trip down the pixelated memory lane, hit that like button, subscribe for more retro goodness, and tell me in the comments which ugly duckling game stole your heart. Thanks a lot for watching, take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you soon.